It's Ant Hill show time, Jay Hill. This is going to be a great one. I've been looking forward to having a conversation with you since the game is over because I just know there's going to be some fun stuff. And the 49ers versus Bucks was a lot of fun. We're going to get into all of it.
Shocking. Just a shocking first half. It's just sitting there and you're like, did that really happen? Rewind. Yeah, that really happened. Yep.
It was
Wow.
It was domination.
It was.
And it didn't start off good. Brock Purdy audibled into the wrong play, and he got absolutely ear-holed.
He got tattooed.
Yeah, he got tore up, by Keanu Neal coming off the corner. And, after that, I felt like it settled him in. And
I think that kind of got him like, okay, game on now.
Yeah, I mean, there's one way to get rid of nerves is to have it knocked out of you.
Literally just knocked out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he got lit up, and then he got up and he started making plays, including a big 3rd and 7 conversion to George Kittle.
Yep, that was a good throw.
They were getting Kittle involved early. I thought that was nice. They got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel involved in the run game, and they were having huge success. You can watch when you go back and watch the film, you can see a lot of the defensive linemen for the Buccaneers trying to chase those plays, and they're just not fast enough to get there. Deebo tight roping up the sideline for a 13-yard touchdown. Great blocks by Kroft, George Kittle, and Mike McGlinchey.
Yep.
It was just execution personified by the 49ers, and that's what you're hoping to see as they continue to move forward. And Jason, I think that's why the offense is really clicking right now.
It's Purdy's in complete control. Like he knows kind of what to do, and Kyle trusts him. And we see that when Kyle trusts the quarterback, and this goes to every place Kyle's been, when he believes that in his quarterback, he's going to open up the playbook, and it gets really fun to watch.
I want to ask you this because I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about opening up the playbook part of this conversation. And in fact, it was Straight Out of the Bay with Jay in the Bay and Celts Chronicles, Bay Area Baller, and Me and the Dream. I want to give them props for this conversation.
The room full.
Yeah, it's 4 guys. They do a really good job. And Jay, they were discussing, is the playbook really opened up, or is there a quarterback that's fully taking advantage of that playbook?
Probably both.
He's probably calling the same exact plays he called for Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. It's just, what did Kyle Shanahan say 2 weeks ago? Brock Purdy looks from deep to short, where Jimmy Garoppolo probably looked the other way. He didn't say it, but he kind of
was hinting it, though. Yeah.
So do you think he's opening up the playbook, or are these just the plays he's always called? It's just now Brock Purdy's hitting those plays, those open receivers that are a part of these.
It's probably both. Like I think that the plays have been there. Like how many times have we talked about it was just running uncovered and Jimmy never saw him. Like that's been a recurring theme on this freaking network since you guys are around.
Good point.
So and Brock seems to find those guys. Sometimes the ball might take a little to get there, but it does get there at least. So
yeah, I think the deep ball to Brandon Ayuk, it definitely was underthrown, and we would have, not us, but I'm saying 49er fans would have absolutely eaten Jimmy's lunch, even if it's a touchdown for it being underthrown. But I will say this about the throw: I do think the pressure that he was getting in his face,
he couldn't really
get
into it,
and the fact that we know that he did have an injured oblique,
yes,
makes it a little bit tougher. And it's on that left side; you got to really torque it to throw that football. It was underthrown, yes, but when you have Brandon Ayuk run a route
such a good route. Oh my God.
It was fantastic. Woo. What a play from Kyle Shanahan, dialing it up right there, and Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk were able to execute and get it done. Pitch and catch, as Brandon Ayuk said.
Yes, exactly. Now, that he turned that DB inside out. Like, it was neat.
And it was just an absolute domination of the Bucs. And the Bucs came in with the 18th best rush defense, which the 49ers going for over 200 is still pretty spectacular. Yeah. But then
they really helped though.
Yeah, they really took advantage of that secondary as well.
Banged up.
They did have problems with the safety position. Both Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards were both out. Yep. But they did take advantage of it. And you got to give them props. The New Orleans Saints weren't able to take advantage of them very much in the game before. So the 49ers offense is clicking, and I thought they made Tom Brady look average in this football game. Nick Bosa got robbed of a sack. But I will say this. I am very happy they ended up not calling that a sack. If it's a sack, it knocks him out of field goal range and they punt and pin the 49ers deep.
Deep, yep.
Because they didn't call it a sack, they tried a long field goal.
And
The
he wasn't
49ers
even
got better field
close.
position.
He missed that thing by a mile.
Yeah, it wasn't close. It was only a 55-yard field goal, too.
But his career long was only 51, though.
Which is crazy because, I mean, Robbie Gould's, basically ancient in kicking here. And he's able to make 50-plus yard field goals at a pretty high rate. Yeah, I mean, the Bucs definitely don't have a kicker with a leg.
Oh, I thought Todd Bowles' assessment was pretty accurate. We got our ass kicked on the field, and we got our ass kicked as a coaching staff. I think that really summed it up very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming off a game where I felt like Kyle Shanahan had his best play calling game against Miami, and I think he just one-upped it against the Bucs. He feels in rhythm with what this team is, with the weapons that they have. It just feels like he's really in a flow, and they're able to execute. I bet a lot of that has to do with his coaching staff feeling fully confident in what Kyle's trying to do, as they have figured out now this offense, what Kyle wants, and now we're moving forward. And let's not forget, it was just over, 4 or 5 weeks ago that Bobby Turner returned to this coaching staff in a different role. He's not running back coach. He is an offensive assistant that's going and making sure receivers are doing things on point. And running backs, it's huge for this 49ers team.
He just kind of keeps everything neat and tidy.
He does. And one of those new coaches has paid huge dividends for the 49ers as far as Brian Griese for Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Brian Griese and Nathaniel Hackett have been doing a very good job with these quarterbacks. Talked about them going over things with Purdy, and they definitely had Purdy ready to go. Brock Purdy looked absolutely fantastic in this game. 16 of 21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, one to Christian McCaffrey, one to Brandon Ayuk. Both of those traveled over 20-plus yards, which Jimmy Garoppolo's had 2 in his entire stint with the 49ers. Yeah. And he had 2 in the second quarter. And then you throw in the fact he also ran for a touchdown.
That was probably my favorite play of his, because he saw what the defense was in, didn't try and force anything, and just took what was there. It sounds so simple, but I mean, how many times have we seen not just Niner QBs, but QBs in general try and make a spectacular throw when it's 5 yards and you're there?
Yeah, I mean, and the one to McCaffrey, I mean, he just let it rip.
That was a beautiful throw.
It was a nice throw. There was nice separation there. Once again, another good route from Christian McCaffrey. He gave a little stick inside. The defender froze, went, kind of leaned in, and he got to the pylon. And then for him to be able to re-grab and figure out where to get that ball and then toe tap was very, very nice. I thought Brock Purdy took chances when he needed to.
Yeah.
And then he, like you said, he took those opportunities to get the wide open receivers the football, whether that was underneath or whatever, and make sure that he continued to get positive plays and move the sticks. He looks like a very seasoned veteran, and he's not. He's just a rookie quarterback who played a lot of football in college, but that doesn't always translate, but it's translating right now for Brock Purdy.
Before the kind of evolution of the spread and the 7-on-7 growing up, there was a stat where most GMs wouldn't really look at a QB unless he had 30-plus starts because of the experience and all that kind of stuff. And Purdy fits right in that mold. 40 starts is something around there. In the Big 12, he saw lots of stuff like we talked about last week. He looks absolutely as comfortable as a quarterback can. It just like nothing seems to faze him. It's impressive. It really has me like, whoa, like this dude is just very steady, very calm. Like, okay, I'm gonna drop back. Okay, here comes a big old D lineman. Okay, I'm gonna get by you, and then just drop it off. Like he doesn't look like he can be rattled.
Yeah, he's built different.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of people said, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. Nick Mullins came in his, his first game, and he threw 3 touchdowns, and he looks over 250 yards, and he looks spectacular. But I think one of the big differences is with Brock Purdy is Nick Mullins still looked a little frantic in the pocket. He still looked like a young guy in the pocket. When you look at Brock Purdy, he just looks under control, healthy, happy. Like, he just looks like nothing shakes him. It's unbelievable.
It really is. Like,
Excuse me.
like Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that much pocket composure.
That's crazy.
Eh,
That's crazy to think. But I mean, and let me say this: I don't know what Brock Purdy's going to do from here.
no.
I don't know if this week against Seattle he's going to have another great performance. If he does, I think that's showing a trend, right, of what we got as a quarterback. I don't know if bumps in the road are coming. All I know is I'm riding this wave
Eh,
of Brock Purdy, and I'm hoping that he can continue to execute Kyle Shanahan's offense at the highest level so they can win football games. I think the one thing he has showed is if he's on top of his game, this 49ers team has the opportunity to win every single game that they play.
yep.
I
This
think
is
go ahead.
the one game on their schedule left where I'm very curious because he's been lucky. He's had 2 home games to kind of ease into it. Now he's going to go into one of the tougher places to play in the entire NFL in a must-win game for Seattle. But, like if he plays well again on Thursday, then I think we can kind of think, okay, maybe we got something here. Like maybe there's more than just a little guy coming in. Oh, here we go. Like that's like he might be something at that point.
Yeah, I mean, right, all attention is going to be on him. He's going to be on silent count.
Yeah.
This 49ers offense is we'll see how it clicks against Seattle. And it really doesn't matter. I know there's a lot of stats, and we'll get into all those later when we're talking about Seattle. But when it comes down to it with this matchup, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter records. It doesn't matter anything. When these two teams match up, it's who wants it more and who executes at the higher level. And that's going to be a fun one. But let's talk about somebody the 49ers are going to be without, and that's Deebo Samuel. When Deebo went down, it did not look good. My first thought was, oh my gosh, he either tore ligaments in his ankle or he tore an ACL, which was my biggest fear. I thought for a second, I saw him moving his ankle around when he was on the ground. I saw them giving him the
They were doing
ACL
this.
tests and all
Yeah.
that. When they were going to allow him to get up, I started to get excited, like, oh, wait, because I've been a coach. I know, hey, if they're letting you try to walk off on your own power,
Then it's not
they feel
that bad.
structurally you're okay.
Yep.
And then he got the cart, and I was like, oh, no. Hopefully we didn't lose Deebo for the season. But, Jason, great news, of course. Everyone knows this. I did a show about this yesterday. Deebo Samuel, they think could even be back for the end of the regular
Yeah.
season. A sprained MCL, it must be the not Elijah Mitchell one.
Right.
And then, a high ankle sprain. What did you think overall about, Deebo's injury? And then, do you think the 49ers can overcome Deebo being out? I'm going to say probably for the rest of the regular season.
So and it's one of those where when you see the guy as he's got the ball and he just drops the ball, like that's where I've seen that's happened obviously a ton of times. That's where as soon as I saw him just kind of because he just went and the ball comes out. That's where I thought, oh no, this might not be good. And then they show the couple replays and you see that leg get bent back and you're like, this really isn't good now. Here we go, and they start to go into another big time injury. Like this is insane. Like why does this keep? This is just crazy. And then the very last replay they showed that it was a close up on his foot, and you saw the ankle kind of roll a little bit, but you saw it come off. But you saw the cleats come out of the ground. And at that point, I was like, okay, we might get him back by like say the divisional round of the playoffs. At that point, I'm thinking 6-7 weeks at that point. Okay, because first game is going to be against the Commanders or the Giants or Seahawks again. We'll beat the hell out of those guys. I'm not worried. The divisional game though could be against the Cowboys or the Vikings or the Eagles. Well, probably not the Eagles, but either the Cowboys,
the Buccaneers.
I mean, it could be too, but
Or Sam Darnold-led Carolina Panthers.
don't tempt me. Okay, now you're just getting crazy. But and then it's like, okay, like that really sucks. We text back and forth, and you said it's probably an ankle, and I said you're probably right at that last replay where you saw it. And then when it came out, like, oh, he could be back by the end of the regular season. Oh, Christmas come early. I got Christmas is here. So okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, thank God.
I think we were shell-shocked from Jimmy Garoppolo the week before. where you're kind of just expecting bad news, and then all of a sudden it started leaking out. And Matt Miyoko said it's not as bad as people,
Yep.
as they think. NFL comes out and says NFL Network comes out and says the same thing. It's like, oh, okay, and now it's good news for Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is going to be back for the playoff run. They're fully expecting this guy back. If they said by the end of the regular season, they're thinking 4 weeks.
Yep.
It's 5 weeks until the wild card round, which means he's going to be locked and ready to go, and that's what's important.
Probably get him back for the Vegas game.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get him back.
Yeah, I think if I'm the 49ers, I don't play him. I don't play him the rest of the regular season.
Just a couple touches just to get him kind of back into it. But, yeah, not anything extravaganza, no.
Yeah, I just want to see this dude healthy. I have no problems with the play call either.
Jerry Rice sure did.
Well, Jerry Rice needs to know what an outside zone is because they're running outside zone, and Deebo Samuel's the one that cut it back inside. Cut it back in, yeah. Yeah, and he made the right read. He's a football player. Guess what? A little bit. Football players get hurt. Jerry should know this. He watched Joe play in the pocket. Joe got hurt. You know what I mean? Football's dangerous. It was Jerry Rice on a reverse in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 29 that he hurt his shoulder for not going out of bounds. So I think that, injuries just happen, and Deebo unfortunately got hurt. And the 49ers unfortunately face some other injuries as well, to key players. Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway last week, now Kevin Givens. The 49ers defensive rotation along the front interior defensive line has definitely changed, Jason. What did you think about these injuries? Now, Dante Johnson, he was elevated from the practice squad. He's gone. But you also had injuries to Samuel Womack. He's in concussion protocol. He's out for the game Thursday. You have Ambry Thomas dealing with an ankle. It looks like he's going to be able to play. And Kyle Shanahan said Kerry Hyder's going to be able to play. At least that's the belief. And he was walking with less of a limp at the end of the game. So he could have continued to play. What are your thoughts on the injuries and how do the 49ers overcome those over the remaining part of the season to be able to make this run and, not only win the division and get into the playoffs, but potentially go for a higher seed?
Yeah, it's obviously concerning when we kind of build our defense on the depth of the D-line. So part of me is like, hey, we need to be careful there a little bit. But, it's better that we have Armstead back. And so that if that means he plays more, I'm not mad at that. I'm just not like he's the monster.
He played 51 snaps in this game out of over 70, but still, that's a good amount.
It's a lot. But if it goes up to 55 or 56, okay, cool. He's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, so it's not bad. Kinlaw should be back in the next week or so, probably after this game too. So that'll kind of alleviate some of the issues there. So, as long as they don't have any more injuries on the D-line that are significant, they should be fine. I'm hoping Brock's oblique has me a little worried because that kind of ties everything together. So, but hey, at this point we're used to it. It's
right, and I think the way the 49ers kind of mindset is going through injuries, I'm not sure a single team in the NFL can, do what the 49ers do as far as injuries. Nobody overcomes injuries like the San Francisco 49ers. Some of that is John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan building the depth along this team, not only through the draft, but through key free agent pickups and then signings on the practice squad and things like that. But also just the mindset of this team that next man up is a real mindset. That player that's coming in is probably not as good as the player that plays in front of him, but some of them don't know that. Look at Deommodore Lenoir. Right? He came in for Emmanuel Mosley, and he's like, I do that. I can do that. Go. And he's playing fantastic. Yep. Jimmy Ward has come in at the nickel corner spot, and he's done fantastic. A 94.5 grade in run stops. That is elite level play from your nickel corner. So I think, the injuries suck. Kevin Givens is going to be out a few weeks. He's going to be there for the playoff run. Hassan Ridgeway's a little bit farther. He had the pectoral, but I think he'll.
Thankfully, it's not torn though.
Yeah, I think he'll be back for the playoff run as well. There is a point in this playoffs where the 49ers have their entire defense, intact. Kinlaw. Of course, you want to have Mosley, but I'm just saying the entire defensive line to go away with this great linebacker group. And then how Deommodore Lenoir's playing on the outside. He competes. He battles. Do I sometimes like to get on him and Hufanga? Yeah, because, he lets guys behind him. Hufanga sometimes makes
miscommunicate.
yeah,
there.
sometimes he makes some mistakes. But I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying, hey, we're gonna clean those things up. Sometimes you're gonna
Yeah.
have to rely on your actual eyes on the field instead of like your pre-snap reads. Sometimes those can be deceiving, especially when you guys like Tom Brady.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that the injuries overall was a good sign. I hate that we lost Dante Johnson because I just think he's a good dude.
He's a good. He's
Yeah.
Mr. Likable. Like everyone likes him. No one. Oh man, that Dante Johnson guy. He's kind of a prick. Like, everyone's like, hey Dante, man, what's up?
Yeah, he's like one of the best. Got to see him at training camp. He was very nice signing all the autographs and everything. Just a good dude. So that was unfortunate to see. And the 49ers do have a little bit of question marks in the secondary. Tarvarius Moore out, Dante Johnson out. So they're going to have, to bring up somebody as a third safety.
What about Janoris?
That's where
Jenkins,
I'm going
too.
with this. Is you got with Womack being out, do you want Ambry Thomas to be the first cornerback in? I don't think you do.
This week, no.
Yeah. So
next week, sure.
So I think what they're gonna do, I do think they'll probably elevate Norris Jenkins to come up and be that cornerback in case they need it. Lenore goes down for whatever reason, or Travis Ward needs to come out. You roll with Jenkins in there because he can play inside and outside end. Really, if something happened to Jimmy Ward, for instance, you could move Lenore into the nickel and you could play Jenkins on the outside.
Let's not talk about that.
Well, I'm just saying last week, he got the wind knocked out of him. He's out for a play.
Yeah.
You felt comfortable with Womack being able to play wherever.
Yeah.
You need that guy. I don't feel comfortable with Ambry Thomas right now playing that role.
Not against DK or Lockett, no.
Or the way Marquise Goodwin's playing.
He actually is playing pretty well.
5 catches for over 90 yards, explosive plays from him.
Yep.
And a team that you don't really get a lot of explosives. But let's go ahead and talk about this 49ers elite defense. I feel like we just talk about it every single week.
Why
because
not?
They keep having even better and better performances. Now they hold the GOAT and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to 7 points. I mean, everyone was kind of predicting low scores for Tampa Bay that it was on this show.
Yep.
But I think the closest was Warren came up with 9. He thought they were going to get 3 field goals. They didn't even get that. Just, the 7 points. And even then, it was tipped off of Dre Greenlaw and then caught.
Dre's over here like celebrating, like, yes. And he looks back like, oh, what the hell?
It was kind of, indicative of how that game went. But tell me your feelings on this 49ers defenses. Every week, it just feels like they find a new way to just be more and more impressive.
So Bosa doesn't get a sack. He put a lot of heat on Tom all day, but he didn't get a sack. Okay, so everybody else makes plays. And then so Dante Whitner was on KMBR yesterday. I forgot. I think it was with Tommy and Copes, and he said for the first time, because they've kind of been poking him a little bit all after about week 6, like, hey, where's this defense for you guys? And he always said no. And then yesterday he kind of caved and was like, yeah, they might be on our level actually now. He said when you look at this player compared to this player comparably, Bosa, Alden, Armstead, Cowboy, all the way back, and he said their secondary might not hit as hard as we hit, but they cover better and they tackle better. I thought that was interesting too. And then the stat that we just talked about before we came live, Colin Cowherd on his herd hierarchy said, and that just blows my mind. This stat is nuts. San Francisco is the only team that has more INTs than touchdown passes allowed. And we're in week 13, week 14 right now. Like that's crazy. That is nuts.
They've been on one heck of a run as far as forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
Not only did they get Tom Brady to throw 2 interceptions, which I predicted in my bold predictions, but also the fumble. Jimmy Ward comes in there, puts his helmet on the ball, ball goes flying up in the air, and Azeez Al-Shire comes up with it. 49ers defense just creates turnovers, they create havoc, and they're just so stingy with points. It's hard for any team to score points on.
10.4 points allowed in the 6-game winning streak.
Yeah,
they've given up 64 points in the last 6 games.
Yeah, what is it? Don't they have 8 halves of scoreless football? So there's been 8 halves where they don't allow the other team to score
a point.
Yeah, that's the first time in like 50 something years. It's really really ridiculous how good this defense is.
And I mean I like turnovers, but I also like 3 and outs. lead the league in 3 and outs too. Like it's this defense is as good as we talked about in the preseason that we thought it was going to be. We hoped, almost expected it to be. I don't know about you, but at this point, I think that they're better than what we even kind of thought.
Oh yeah,
Like, I mean, this is nuts.
I mean, watching them, in training camp, I went out and watched every single day, and you could tell they were absolutely suffocating early on in the training camp. Then it felt like the offense got their footing, and you're like, okay, this defense, is backed up a little bit, but they are fantastic. Now, did I think they were going to play at this elite level? No, I thought they were going to be really good. Top 5 in the league, potentially top 3, but they are by far the number 1 defense in the entire league. The 49ers are the only team that hasn't given up more than 200 points this season, 196.
And that's with the Chief game too, which was 43 of that.
Right.
So take out the Chief game, and they're around 150 allowed.
Yeah, and
that's insane.
The thing is, the closest team to them is the Bills, and the Bills have given up 24 more points. That's basically an entire game for the 49ers. It's almost 2 games.
It is 2 games.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how
2.5 games
this defense has played.
It's nuts.
Because of them, the 49ers are in every single game that they play.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the reasons why is Dre Greenlaw, big play Dre. He's making splash plays. He's getting autographs signed on footballs that are interceptions.
That was very cool.
Greenlaw has been playing like crazy good. 15 tackles. 10 of those tackles were solo.
Yeah.
1 interception. Dre Greenlaw, I said it before the season. I thought it was going to be Pro Bowl Dre. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. He deserves it. And I think this 49ers defense is where they're at because of Greenlaw. And then a nice big check to John Lynch for signing Dre Greenlaw after week 1 to a 2-year extension. Yep. Looks like a genius move now.
Yeah, because his values keeps he's now underpaid. Like, he's officially underpaid. And the other thing that, because I was saving Dante's other comment for this particular segment.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Hide it away.
Veteran, he said that you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. But Dre and Fred are getting close to 52 and 53 as a duo. And that's like that to me is higher praise than him saying that this defense is getting close to his, because I think that's the best inside linebacker combo probably in the history of the sport when they were both healthy. So to say that Fred and Dre are getting into that category now, it's all because of Dre, because Fred's always been up in that, at least, time zone. But the last 9 weeks, Dre has just been a man possessed. Like, it's amazing how well he's doing everything.
Yeah, I think last year the injury, kept him out for so long. Yeah. We didn't get to see what Dre Greenlaw had developed into. I think that ends up helping the 49ers as far as being able to get him under contract, because I believed last year he was going to have a Pro Bowl season, and if he would have, that would have meant the 49ers couldn't afford him. They probably would have had to go with Azeez Al-Shire. That is not the case, and you're right. This linebacker group, they're asked to do different things than Patrick Wilson, Navarro Bowman, so it's never going to be a direct, complete comparison.
In terms of just dominance, though.
Right. They're fantastic, though, and they're in that light. And I'll tell you, between Dre's fantastic tackler, he's the best tackler out of all of those linebackers. Yes. I mean, he is just absolutely crazy good.
His hands on you, you're going down.
Yeah, and I think him and Fred Warner complement each other maybe more than any linebacker group I've seen.
Yep.
It is absolutely fantastic to watch. And Greenlaw is a sure tackler. He runs sideline to sideline. He's able to cover running backs. He does everything you want. And then he talks about how his coach kept telling him, stay back. And he kept staying back. He got beat over the top, one time. He's like, stay back. The fact that he can continue to do what coach wants and play within this defense is part of the reason he's having so much success. And I'm so glad the 49ers have Dre Greenlaw, because I think him and Fred Warner together, they're always just going to make sure that this, front seven. I mean, you already got studs along the defensive line, but now you have the best linebacker core in the group, in the room, in the league. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Dre Greenlaw loves him some Seattle, especially at the end of the season, December, January time. And, they're going back up there. And the 49ers have a chance because the Seahawks lost to Carolina to clinch the division and win the NFC West. But let's talk a little bit about the matchup first. Jason, Geno Smith threw 2 interceptions last week. It's not like they've got it going. And Kenneth Walker, with him being questionable, if he doesn't play,
And no chance.
there's no run game for
Yeah.
Seattle.
So indulge me to pat ourselves on the back because we told you guys last week if Kenneth Walker does not play, that Carolina game is going to get a lot more spicy.
Yeah.
And thank you to
It was a
my man Sam.
Reaper.
My man Sam, baby.
Yeah.
Got to let it up there. Handle it for us. That was helpful.
Well, I mean, it helps when you get over 220 yards rushing the football.
Hey, not having Al Woods for Seattle is massive.
Yeah, they're the 29th best defense against the run, or 30th maybe. They're just bad.
And he was the only guy who stopped the run when we played them in week 2. Like he was a force. So for him to be out again on Thursday is going to make the offensive job a lot easier.
Yeah, he's a force. And
he's
the 49ers still rushed
massive
over
human
180 yards in that matchup in week 2, by the way.
But no, I know that. But he got upfield though, and
I'm not saying he didn't. I just think it's funny because we have to talk about him being a force, which he was, but they still gave up 180 plus yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Against the run. And I think that's where the 49ers' distinct advantage is against the Seahawks is the run game. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey in the first matchup. They had Jimmy Garoppolo coming off the bench after the Trey Lance injury.
No Elijah that game too.
No Elijah Mitchell. No Jordan Mason playing a role in the game. So this 49ers run game is more intricate. They're at a different level. They've got more explosiveness. I think that the Seahawks are going to have to come in with a concerted effort to stop this run game and try to make Brock Purdy beat them. The only problem is, through 2 games, Brock Purdy's proven that he can.
That he can. And, Geno's still playing well, but he's not on, like, the mid-season talk of Geno Smith, lightweight, subtle MVP talk. That's gone. He's still playing at a near Pro Bowl caliber level, but he's definitely not playing as good as he used to. So it's going to be massive to keep the pressure on him and not give him time to unload because Lockett and Metcalf can still bring it in too. So
yeah, I mean, you don't want to give Geno Smith the opportunity to get the ball where he wants it to get. They tried to go with a quick passing game in week 2. And the 49ers were able to tackle, rally, and make plays.
That didn't really work out too well.
It didn't work, and that's exactly what Tom Brady was forced to do with 4.5 yards per pass. If Geno Smith and the Seahawks have to do that, the 49ers are going to win.
Oh yeah,
because the 49ers are one mistake away. You miss this, all of a sudden it's 3rd and long, and boom, they're off the field. That's kind of how they make you try to beat them. And I think the Seahawks, without the run game, are going to really, really struggle because part of their success is being able to get those 3rd and shorts, so that way Geno can throw a 3-yard pass for a first down. Yep. And when that's not the case, I mean, yeah, he has weapons: DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Goodwin, a tight end room that's pretty good with Noah Fant and Will Dissly.
Yep.
It's not like they're really hurting in the talent department, but their offense isn't able to execute at a high level. I think their advantage, the Seahawks' advantage, is the fact they're playing at home in front of their crowd.
It's gonna be loud.
And they know their season is on the line. If they don't beat the 49ers, they've got the Chiefs coming up. They've got the Jets coming up. It might not just be that they don't win the division, but that they fall
make all the way out of the playoffs even, yeah.
Because the NFC East has still got the Giants and Commanders that are hanging around, and nobody should take their eye off the Detroit Lions. They are coming.
5th best offense in the league. And old Dan Campbell, man, he gets those guys play for him. I mean, that fake punt he called was nuts. And then the play action where to Penei Sewell, which, by the way, did you see the way he caught that and ran?
Yeah,
that was impressive. Actually, like that was like not like it was like let's go. He's a freakish athlete.
He really is.
Oh my god.
I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. I hope he ends up playing, offensive line as good as he played that play, because right now he's a good serviceable right tackle, but he is definitely not on the level that he should be.
Not yet, no.
But I do think he's got a lot of ability and a lot of talent. Yeah. I think he can still be developed, Jason. This game is going to be fun, and it's going to determine the NFC West. The 49ers officially can put the Seahawks down, put that nail in the coffin and secure the 3 seed. If the 49ers win this, they've all but secured the 3 seed because they just beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay leads the NFC South, and if Atlanta or Carolina are able to catch them, I don't think Atlanta can catch the 49ers in record, and they've already beaten Carolina. So I think that this pretty much would secure the 3 seed. Jason, do you think the 49ers can win the NFC West this week against Seattle?
I fully expect that they will. I mean, the only question is if Walker plays, it'll be a little more competitive than if he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, 31-10's not out of the question here.
Yeah, that could be a beatdown, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen. And that's what I like to say that to Horst about every single rivalry game, but you just don't know. But I do think after watching week 2, the 49ers absolutely dominated in all phases. I don't think Seattle matches up well with the 49ers. I think the
Not
49ers
yet.
are built, to beat a lot of football teams. And right now, Seattle is a year or two away.
Yep.
They drafted good. Boy Mafi,
Really,
great.
they had a really good draft
Yeah,
this year.
Tariq
Really
Woolen,
good draft.
he's playing good at corner. Kobe Bryant, he's going to be somebody that can help them in the future.
Hate that name.
They still got Quandre Diggs, which I think he's one of the better safeties in the league. They have talent. I think the problem is
really young.
their linebacker group is not that great. Their pass rushers, are young. They keep bringing in guys like Bruce Irvin, but still can't create pressure very often. So I think they're just a bad matchup. I think the 49ers have a really good opportunity to win the West, and I think there's motivation for the 49ers not only to win it, but knowing they're going to have a long stretch between that and playing the Washington Commanders.
The mini bye.
I think that is they want that. So they can go out, give maximum effort, give everything they got, knowing that they're going to have that break. And I think that's huge for players like Bosa, Brock Purdy, guys who have been nursing irritations, that they're going to be ready to go. So I think this is within the realm of possibilities. I think the 49ers have a really good shot.
I think so too. And as far as the NFC West goes, in terms of potentially getting up to that 2 seed, which we had talked about a couple weeks ago. There we go. See, look at that, folks. Professional. What happened last night helps us a ton because Kyler makes that team, as we saw a few weeks back, they are not the same offense without his elusiveness.
Yeah.
And so that game becomes a much easier win too. I mean, San Francisco should be favored in the rest of their games by 6 points or more.
I mean, the fact that they were 4.5 over Tampa Bay, I think Las Vegas was worried about Brock Purdy.
Yep.
I think if Jimmy Garoppolo would have been the quarterback, they would have been 7-point favorites. And I think they're going to continue to be favorites. This one's in Seattle. It'll be a little bit closer.
It's only 3.5 right now.
Yeah. When they play, because short week on the road, Thursday Night Football, this is kind of how it is. But when they play the Commanders, I fully expect them to be at least a 6-point favorite, like you said.
Yeah.
And then, the Raiders, for sure, even though it's on the road, they're going to be favored there.
9.5 potentially.
And I think that Arizona is mentally going to check out by that time.
Oh, yeah.
The question will be, are the 49ers in a position to increase their seed, right? If the number 2 seed's on the line, they have the tiebreaker over Minnesota.
Yep.
Minnesota has all 3 of their losses are within conference. 49ers only have 2 losses within conference. If the 49ers win their games, they have a really good shot of winning this number 2 seed. And the reason the number 2 seed is so important, and there's a lot of people talking about matchups and who you play, I would rather the 49ers play at home no matter what the matchup is compared to playing on the road against Minnesota in the second round. For this reason only. I don't want to play on turf. I want to play on grass, and I want the 49ers to play at home. I want them to be able to sleep in their own beds, because we saw in 2019 that when the 49ers were at home, they dominated. And now they got a defense that if you can put them in a situation where they're at home with a home crowd, that gives them even more of an advantage. So I'm all for that. Are you, Jason, for them working up to that number 2 seed, or would you rather stay at 3 because of matchups?
I mean, if playoffs started today, we would at 3 we have the Commanders, I believe,
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
And the Giants are 7.
Playing Minnesota.
Yeah. I think one of those 2 teams probably falls out of it. So, and I'd personally rather not necessarily play the Lions just because of their offense. I'm not worried about their offense, but why work harder than you need to? Now, that being said, would I prefer to have the 2 seed? Yes, because the 2 seed probably means that we miss Dallas in round 2. And I'd rather have Dallas play the Eagles in round 2 than beat the tar out of each other, and then we kind of slide through somebody else, get to the NFC Championship that way. Would be easier.
I think the perfect scenario is 49ers get to the 2 seed. They play the New York Football Giants, who's hold on to the 7
It's a beat down.
in round 1. The 49ers will get a nice win at home, and then they'll welcome in Minnesota, or Commanders, whoever wins that football game. But you welcome them in, and then you hope that Dallas knocks off Philly, and then
you get the home game.
you get the home game for the NFC Championship game, and it's not, under like a thought process that can't happen. Last year, both number ones went down in the divisional round, the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers, because 49ers knocked off Green Bay in Lambeau.
The block punt game.
So, I mean, that's the thing. It can happen. And then all of a sudden you went from not only having, home field for 2 games, but home field for 3 games all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And for a young quarterback and a very good defense, it's nice to be at home in front of the home crowd. Let's not forget the 49ers have a much better record at home this year than they do on the road. So it's important for the 49ers to get those home games if possible. I mean, I'm not going to worry if they're 3 seed and have to go on the road to Minnesota. They can beat Minnesota.
The Vikings are weird though. Like they're the only team in the league with a plus 500 record who's allowed more points than they've scored.
Yeah, they're an anomaly.
They're like 8-1 in 1-score games too. Like they're playing a bunch of close games that they usually win, and then a couple of losses they've just gotten crushed by the Eagles and Cowboys. So
yeah, I mean, that would be the rubber meets the road, because they play close games and the 49ers don't.
Yeah.
The 49ers, most of their games are blowouts one way or the other. They've had 3 close games this year that were within 1 score. The rest of them have all been the other way, and most of them with 49ers dominating. So I think that would be interesting. I want Minnesota in round 2.
They are soft.
If I got the option, I'd rather have it at Levi Stadium. We see how that played out before Kirk Cousins in hostile environments.
Hopefully for some rain too.
I'll be honest. I would not be. The only thing that scares me about the Minnesota Vikings is them losing to the Washington Commanders, and then the Commanders playing the Philadelphia Eagles in the second round, and the 49ers getting the Cowboys coming to Levi's.
Yeah.
That Minnesota is not somebody that I feel secure about a win.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Let's talk about the 49ers rank in the NFC, because they kind of took a little bit of a hit. Brock Purdy became quarterback, and all of a sudden everyone's like, whoa, are they still one of the top teams in the NFC? We know that the teams at the top have been Philadelphia, Dallas, Minnesota. They've been the teams that have hovered around, and then the 49ers have kind of entered that fray over the last several weeks. Their 6-game winning streak. Jason, where do you put the 49ers in the hierarchy of the NFC?
1B.
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 I like that. Right behind Philly.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I think they are. I think they're right there. I mean, Philly has definitely proven that they're the best team. I look back and I see situations where the 49ers should have beat Chicago. The 49ers should have beat Denver. The 49ers should have beat Atlanta.
Yep.
And we could be talking.
Man, that one maybe, because we have that game, they were so banged up.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're healthy,
but
right?
The other two absolutely should have been wins.
Yeah, I'm saying if you're healthy and you're playing with Bosa and you're playing with Armstead, you're winning that football game. And I think that those circumstances kind of suck, because you could be like, oh, 49ers are right there with Philly. Here's the thing, though. Because those injuries happened, they made a trade for Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
We don't have Christian McCaffrey if the 49ers were winning all those football games.
Not.
They don't feel the need to do so.
Yeah.
So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's going to end up benefiting the 49ers, because McCaffrey's added an extra 7 points. The 49ers averaged 21 points per game without him. They averaged 28 points with him. So that is going to be huge. That's going to get us to the Debo stuff, and that's why I believe that they're one of the top 2 teams in the entire NFC. I think they have a better defense than Dallas. They have a better defense than Philly. I think where Philly's dangerous is they have a very good offensive line. And I want to see how their offensive line matches up. We saw it last year. It was a mashup game. It was crazy in week 2 last year. But Philly's offensive line versus the 49ers defensive line, that would be spectacular.
Something special.
It would be something special,
especially for ex-O lineman like you.
Yeah,
be like, let's do this. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Boom.
I get to watch Jordan Mailata. I mean, that guy's spectacular.
John Madden would be just cartwheels too.
Yeah, he would.
Boom,
he'd be
boom.
excited about it. So I mean, I'm with you on this. I think they're one of the top teams. I think Dallas is the 3rd team, and then I think
Dallas is unpredictable though.
They are, but I think there's a huge drop between them and like Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Minnesota, to me, they don't scare me. The 49ers always stop Minnesota's run game, even though Dalvin Cook is spectacular.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Can't get anything going on the ground. Some of that's offensive line. I don't think
their O-line's not.
I don't think Minnesota's a team that is fearful for anyone, but I do think Dallas is, because they're hot and cold, and when they're hot, when you get Pollard going, you get Zeke going, they can be dangerous. They just signed T.Y. Hilton,
That was an interesting move.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham says he's not going to play till the playoffs. I think Jerry wasn't exactly excited about that, or his knee potentially not being good to go.
He's still not ready.
Right, and there was all the conversation about him coming to the 49ers, and when Debo first went down, that entered my mind.
Yep.
But I don't think that's the case now. I don't think I don't think they're going to bring him in and try to upset the chemistry of the locker room for a guy that's just a playoff player.
Playoff guy. No. Now, speaking of the Debo injury, though, do you think, since it's a short week and they don't necessarily have a ton of time, we might see McCaffrey in the slot more and more Jordan Mason as the running back?
I mean, it's a possibility. I think that my thought process is probably going to be Ray McLeod. So when Deebo Samuel went out, Deebo had played, I think it was like 29 plays in the game.
Yeah.
After that, Ray McLeod played 27. So Ray basically came in and fulfilled that Z role within the 49ers offense. I think you're going to see that. You saw at the end of the game, they kind of ran some fly sweeps and some actually halfback tosses to Ray McLeod out of the backfield. Ray's got that ability. He's not Deebo Samuel by any means, but I think he's going to be using that.
He's pretty shifty, though,
yeah,
too.
I think you're going to see – I think you will see Christian McCaffrey in some of the Deebo role, like you said, in the slot and doing some of that. I just don't know how much of a package you're going to get out of it, especially on a short week.
Yeah.
So I think they will use McCaffrey in that regard, but I don't know. It would be interesting if we did see Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason on the field. I think that would be something
that could be fun too.
Fun to see. And, I mean, people love them some Jordan Mason.
He's grown on me. That's for sure.
He's good.
He's nice.
He's not as good as everyone says he is, but he's good. I mean, no, I think he's really good running back, and I think he's having a great rookie season.
Yeah.
But I mean, I started hearing people talking about Marshawn Lynch and Bo Jackson. I'm like, whoa.
Bo Jackson, literally the best athlete in American history. No, sorry, let's we're not gonna go that.
Pump the brakes, but he has proven what everyone said about him in training camp, right? That he's spectacular.
Yeah.
He's a powerful runner. I love watching him. I still in the hierarchy, I got Christian McCaffrey, I got Elijah Mitchell, then I got Jordan.
Yeah.
When they come back, that's how I fully expect them. But I do love that he got 11 carries in this football game. I think 10 carries
for him is ideal.
It's pretty spectacular because those are going to be dynamic, hard running carries. So let's talk about your bold prediction, Jason. Got to go really bold. Whoa.
Really, really bold, huh?
Whoa.
Brock Purdy throws 3 touchdown passes.
Ooh, I like it.
And San Francisco wins, we'll say 31-16.
Wow. So there you go. 16 points for Seattle.
Well, I think Walker's gonna play, so they'll probably get one over the top to Lockett or to Metcalf.
There you go. So Brock Purdy with 3 touchdowns, and the 49ers win 31-16, according to Jay Hill. Let it be so. That means the 49ers win the division.
Champs.
The 49ers pretty much lock up at least the 3 seed in the playoffs, which is good news. That means they're going to have a favorable home field game in the wild card round, and then you kind of let it play out from there. But Jason, another exciting episode of the Ant Hill Show. Looking forward to seeing what happens in this game, and then talking about the Commanders, a Christmas Eve battle.
It's going to be an interesting
against
game.
Kyle's favorite organization.
Yeah, right.
He loves them, especially with all the news coming out that Trent Williams, the 49ers were trying to trade for him in 2019.
They told him no.
Yeah, they said no. And in fact, it was Trent Williams that reached out to Kyle in 2020, said, "Hey, I'm about to go to Minnesota for just a 5th round pick." Kyle was like, "Oh no, we can beat that.
We'll make a better offer than that.
We'll beat that." And thank God, I'm going to say this. Thank God for Martin Mayhew going and signing for that over there as one of their front office staff.
Yeah,
because that's probably the reason the deal got done.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason. Dan Snyder was not going to do anything for Kyle ever.
I tell you though, it did make me think. Dan Snyder, damn you! You would have allowed Trent Williams to come. We would have had Trent Williams, Joe Staley on that same offensive line.
Yep.
It could have been. It would have been ridiculous.
Staley at right tackle and slide
McGlinchey inside. It could have been spectacular.
They beat the tar out of the Chiefs at that point.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So Dan Snyder cost the 49ers the Super Bowl.
It's okay. Dan Snyder's about to get his ass kicked out of the league. So and now he's going to be a very, very rich man because of it. But still.
Yeah, you got a great point. So, 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks on Thursday. Make sure you pay attention to all the content that's going to be coming out this week. It's going to be a great one. Madden Sim, of course, game preview show. And then join me after the game on Thursday for the game reaction show. Going to be exciting. It's going to be a nighttime showdown, prime time.
It's going to be some liquored up Seattle folks.
That's the only way to stay warm, especially when you lose. I think it's going to be a fun matchup. Thanks everyone for watching another episode of Ant Hill. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Spike Coffees, here we come.
Go Niners.